Alright, so today the subject is, what is today's subject? World building. So I'm starting a new level here because it's starting to get kind of confusing. So here's what we're going to do. Just as far as world building, what it's talking about is just kind of creating all your, I don't know, your fog, your world, your player start. So just to kind of give you a little overview, I think you already know what a player start is. That's this thing. If you can't find it, just create one by going up here and going to player start. This is going to be where your player starts. So if I hit play, my player starts here. Not if you select current camera location though. Then it'll play wherever my camera is. But I'll set it to default player start. Going to go into my world settings real quick and just change this to first person game mode, and here we go. Alright, we already know that. So let's learn some new stuff. Okay, right now we have some atmospheric fog, and that's what you see up here. You can do some things to change the intensity of the sun. You can change that to 0 to 1. You can change the fog, amount of fog. Let's keep that at 1 for now. You can change the color of the fog, although that didn't do anything. So I'm not sure what that does, so never mind. You might be surprised to note that I'm kind of learning a lot of this stuff along with you. There's just so much to learn, so I'm trying to stay one step ahead, but some of the stuff still confuses me. Okay, but you can also, there's also another fog thing you can do called Exponential Fog Height, which is kind of a newer thing. This allows you to change the fog. You could have a faraway fog color, a close-up fog color. So the fog in scattering color, let's change that to red. You can see that that lower fog will be like that, and then you can change the color of this one to a different tint. I guess you do that here. So let's see what happens. If we go green, yeah, see, I'm not seeing anything. Maybe I need to bring these numbers up. Alright, so far I'm not having much success with this, but you can adjust the intensity, how far away it occurs, the opacity of the fog, the start and the end distance. So exponential fog height is similar to your atmospheric fog. It's just got a little bit more that you can do with it. I'm not going to go over every single number here and try to figure all this stuff out. It's complicated. If you want fog in your level, just know that you want to use exponential fog and you want to just research what you can do with it. Another important thing is just kind of learning how to do some stuff with the volumes here. You do want to have what's called a light mass importance volume. So a light mass importance volume is just going to be the most important part of your scene, the part that really needs to focus on. So let's say that my level, I have a bunch of stuff back here for the background, but I really want everything to be occurring inside this. You just want to put this here, and then when you build your lighting, it'll just really focus on this little section, and it'll put less importance on the stuff outside. This will cost less, and it will take less time for your level to build. So definitely want to create one of those. It's easy to forget about. Usually your computer will warn you if you don't have one of those later on. Let's say that I put a, I don't know, a sphere here. And on this sphere I've created a material that's very, very, very shiny. So if I go here, you'll see that the metallic is up to 1 and the roughness is down to 0, and you'll end up with this. But as of right now, it doesn't really show anything. It's just kind of blackness. So what you sometimes need to do is these things called sphere reflection captures, and you put that next to it, and you can see what that does is it basically takes a picture. Depending on where you want to put this, you can see it make some changes. It basically takes a picture of all the stuff around here and it projects it onto anything that needs reflections. So hey, what is that? Huh, I'm not sure what that circle is. Maybe if I put it right in the middle, that'll go away. Yep, cool. And then you can see that if I were to go up higher. So just, it gives you a little control over what you want the reflections to look like. And you'll bake that into your scene by building your light. You will want those whenever you have stuff with a lot of reflections. And it has a attenuation radius that influences how far it goes. And you can see right now, it goes very, very, very far. And the smaller it is, the less it costs. So if it's bigger, it costs more. Another really fun thing, let me go ahead and just build my lighting real quick while that's happening, is it's called a post-process volume. And what this does is it allows you to make visual effects in your scene that will affect you when you enter this volume. So for example, I'll put it right here. And I'm outside of my player start, so if I start over here and I hit play, this is not going to affect me. But what you can do with this is you can do things like affect the color and add bloom. So let's start with just bloom. I'll search it up right here. Bloom can also be added, I think, on your skylight if you search for it. But let's say bloom standard method. So when I'm in here, I'm going to look up at the sun. Where's my sun? Oh, there it is. And I'm going to increase the intensity of the bloom up really, really high. And let's try changing this to, you could try a different method. And you'll see what happens when I look at the sun is it creates these kind of spokes here. Now I thought that I could get that to become bigger, but I'm not sure exactly how to do that. Oh yeah, there you go. You can adjust the size, the tint, so you can like have it be like a bunch of different colors. I guess I can do multiple colors. That's kind of cool. So kind of like a rainbow. You've seen that in games before probably. So, oh wow, it lets me do all the colors. I guess you have to check the box and then double click here. Cool. So when you look up at the sun, you can see it kind of like has all these weird little colors now. And that's your bloom. It's basically just simulating what happens when you look at a light. And you can see this is me inside the volume. This is me outside the volume. Normal with bloom. Normal with bloom. Everything just kind of has this haze around it. You can also affect the color of your world. So if you go into color grading, we could just say global gamma. Let's just give everything a little bit of a blue tinge. No, let's go red. So when I'm in the post-process volume, it looks like this. When I'm out, it looks like this. In, out. You can also do some cool stuff with depth of field. Depth of field is simulating, well, basically the human eye. When things are up close, things in the background look blurry. When you're looking in the background, things up close look blurry. Lenses also do this. So if we go into depth of field, there's a lot of stuff here. Let's just go into, you can create a vignette. That's kind of cool. So the edges do that. Let me find depth of field. I'll just type it up here. There it is. So if we go depth of field, again, I'm just kind of guessing on this stuff. It's not something I have played with recently, but watch what happens when we play the game. With depth of field on, you can see that things up close are blurry. My hand becomes really blurry. That's depth of field. It makes things blurry when they're close up or possibly far away, depending on how you do the settings. You can see our sphere reflection capture looks really cool now. When I enter the post-process volume, things change. When I'm kind of halfway through, it kind of halfway goes, and then as I leave it, it's gone completely, which is kind of a cool effect. You'll notice this does also capture you, the actor, so that's pretty cool. Other than that, I'm just going to quickly look over the quiz and see if there's anything I'm missing. I talked about sphere reflection, I talked about bloom, player starts, talked about the fog, talked about light mass important volumes, skylights. Oh, a skylight will only recapture the scene when you rebuild lighting. I'll give you that one, that's true. We talked about, yes, this one is the depth of field thing. We talked about, oh, we didn't talk about this one. Yeah, so chromatic aberration. Let's go into our post-process volume here. Chromatic aberration, that's this thing. And what that basically does I know I have all these other crazy effects on, but what it basically does is it kind of simulates the effects of lenses in your camera, and the bigger it is, the more it simulates that effect. So as I move around right now, you'll kind of see the edges kind of become different colors and kind of hazy, especially if I move really fast. So I don't know why they have a whole question devoted to that, but there it is. And we talked about exponential fog height, and we talked about, oh, we didn't do lens flare. Lens flare, let's talk about that. You probably know what lens flare is, but again, sphere reflection capture. Sorry, no, post-process volume. Lens flare is going to be, when you look up at like a light, it's creating this little thing right here, which has nothing to do with depth of field, by the way, in case you're wondering. So that's kind of cool. So there's all sorts of things you can do. And again, I'm just giving you guys a taste of this stuff. I want you to know it's there. I want you to know you can use it. Go online, follow the tutorials, find documentation, and that's really it. You don't need to be masters at this stuff right away, but knowing that it exists, knowing that, you know, you need to have a light mass importance volume, knowing what post-process is, that's really what I'm looking for right now. All right, that's it. When you're done, work on your team level, and you'll have tomorrow as well. See ya.